Okay, great. It's 5:32, so we'll get started. Now, it just happened that I know two of you are on trial, Angelina and Sanja, is it? Sanja? Sheena. So what's going to happen is that just nice, okay, today we are actually doing revision on diversity. Okay, you must be thinking, how come you still need tuition when it's holidays, right? So I think I just want to encourage you to just take it very positively. In fact, I think the holiday period is the best time for you to catch up on a bit of your work and misconceptions. You might just want to clear them off during the holidays. Okay, so we are going to start on some revision. Okay, you're only primary 3, and the topics which you've learned, I think mainly are living, non-living things, animals, plants, right? Bacteria and fungi. Okay, so in this case, today we are just revising on diversity as a whole. Okay, why diversity? Actually, it comprises of all these topics. Yeah, have I shared screen? Let me see. Not yet. Okay, let me share screen with you first. Okay, now by diversity, we actually mean these topics. Okay, you have diversity of animals, okay, diversity of plants, and then we also have our fungi and bacteria, right? And then we have also the living and non-living things. So a show of hands, how many of you have already gone through all these topics? Yes, Angelina, yes. Sansha, right? Sansha?
It's Shayna.
Shayna, sorry, I need to write down somewhere. Shayna. And Claire. Okay, all right, so these are the topics. Now, since Angelina and Shayna are new, maybe I just want to take some time, very quick one, to go through some house rules. I think all of you are doing a great job. First thing is, of course, to turn on your video, right? The reason why is because I need to know whether you are really paying attention behind the screen, right? And then the next thing to do is to mute your microphone, which I think all of you have done a fantastic job, okay? Because the reason why you need to mute your microphone is because if, let's say, you have a lot of noise at the background and all of you were to just unmute your microphone, it's going to be very disruptive to the class, okay? So it's really important to mute your microphone. That's one. Turn on your video, number 2. Number 3, if you have a question, you can always click on the chat function and ask a question. Okay, and then if you have anything urgent, okay, if you have something urgent to ask, okay, you might not want to type in the chat, you just want to quickly ask, you can also click on this icon here, which is the raise hand function. Okay, so when you raise your hand, I've just demonstrated it. When you raise your hands, you will immediately be prioritized to the front. Okay, so then after that, I will then call your name, and then you can answer the question. Okay, so that's if you have something urgent. Now, another thing is, if you need to go toilet, of course, I will not stop you from going. Okay, I understand that sometimes you just have to answer to nature's call. All you need to do is just inform me. Just drop a message in the chat box and I will know. Okay, and you can just quickly go. But of course, our lesson is a 1.5 hours lesson. You should not be going toilet too often. Okay? Yeah. So all in all, I think the main thing is to be mindful, to respect everyone here. Okay. Even though we're on cyberspace. Yeah. Okay. I think I've got one more student joining. Okay. Who is this? Hi. May I know your name, please? Lisa Teo? Emma. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Emma. Okay, can. Yeah, so Emma, I was just going through some house rules. Okay, so main thing is to turn on your video, mute your microphone. If you want to ask question, type in the chat. If you have urgent question, you can raise your hands. If not, then if you need to go toilet, just let me know. Okay. Now we are gonna start off with a video because you've already learned diversity topics, right? Living, non-living things, animals, plants, and all. Okay, so we're gonna watch this video as a recap on diversity. Let's have a look.
Hello and welcome to today.
Let me just share sound, yeah.
Lesson. Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We are going to take a look at the diversity of things around us.
Diversity? What's the meaning of diversity?
Well, look at the things around you. How many kinds of things do you see in a day?
Tens? Hundreds? Thousands?
You're right. The world is made of many kinds of things. Some of them are alike and some are different.
Yes, can you please tell me more?
If you look at the things around you, you'll notice that they are very different in many ways. Look at a kitten and the pen that you're using. A kitten needs food and water. It can grow and it can die. It can move, but a pen does not need food and water. It cannot grow and it cannot move. Things you see around you are either living or non-living. Living things are things that are alive. The kitten is an example. Animals and plants are living things. Things that are not alive are non-living things. The pencil is a non-living thing.
Right. Let's see if I'm able to identify the living and non-living things.
Now that you're able to identify living things from non-living things, let's move on to more examples. Animals, plants, and fungi are living things. They need food and water to grow. They are able to move on their own. Non-living things cannot move on their own. You can see many examples of non-living things around you. Can you name some of them?
Yes, I can.
Did you have breakfast this morning? You need to eat and drink so that you can grow. A kitten will grow into a cat. A seed will grow into an adult plant.
So, the boy and the girl will grow into a man and a woman.
Correct. Do you know that both plants and animals move about?
Plants move. I know that animals move around. But how do plants move?
Animals move from place to place to look for food and water. Plants move in a different way. They do not move from place to place like the animals. Only some parts of the plants move. For example, the shoot or stem of plants grow towards the sky to get sunlight. The leaves of a mimosa plant close when touched. However, non-living things do not move by themselves. Living things respond to changes around them. How do you feel on hot and cold days? Do the animals around you respond in the same way as you do?
I normally hide in the shade when it is too hot to go out. My little kittens like to stay indoors when the weather is hot too.
Right. Besides this, living things die too, whereas non-living things do not die. And living things have young. They reproduce.
Wow! Living things can do so many things which a non-living thing cannot do.
That's right. Can you remember the things that a living thing can do?
Yes, I can.
Let's recall what you have learned.
We have learned that the great variety of things around us is called diversity. Things around us are either living or non-living things. Animals and plants are living things. Living things need air, water, and food to grow. Non-living things do not need air, water, and food. They do not grow. Living things move by themselves. Non-living things do not move by themselves. Living things respond to changes. Non-living things do not respond to changes around them. Living things die. Non-living things do not die. Living things reproduce. Non-living things do not reproduce.
Right, so if you notice, today we are actually focusing more on living versus non-living things. Okay, like I said, it's just the start of revision for diversity. In the upcoming weeks, we're going to cover more on diversity. Maybe we're going to cover like diversity of animals, right? What are the characteristics of animals? And then after that, we'll move on to plants, bacteria, and fungi. Okay, so just a quick recap.
Hello.
Let's recap on some of these information again. So like what is stated in the video, what are living things? Living things are things that are alive. Okay, anything that are alive. So an example of a living thing, of course, will be you, right? You are the person reading this now and you are a living thing because you have the characteristics of a living thing. Okay, so what are the characteristics of living things? Oh no, wait, let me just let's just go through, before we go through the characteristics of living things, let's just go through the non-living things first. Okay, so what do we mean by non-living things? Of course, non-living things means they are never alive. Okay, they are never alive. Yeah, so an example will be the device that you are using to read this sentence, which is the computer, right? Most of you are using computer, some of you maybe tablet, okay, or your phones even, right? So these are non-living things, okay? So now let's move on to characteristics. Generally, there are 4. I know just now in the video, they said that living things die. Okay, it's good to know, but living things die as a characteristic is not in your PSLE syllabus. Okay, but then again, it's nothing wrong to know more. I think it's good to know more. Okay, so what are the main the 4 main characteristics of living things that you have to know? Number 1, they need air, food, and water to survive. That's characteristic number 1. Number 2, they have the ability to grow. Okay, they can grow. Number 3, they respond to changes. Okay, respond to changes around them, respond to stimuli around them. Number 4, they have the ability to reproduce. Okay, so these are the 4 main characteristics which you need to know in terms of characteristics of living things. Okay, so I think we will focus more on these 2. Okay, let me just change another color. We'll focus more on this and this. I think these 2 are quite straightforward, right? Need air, food, and water, and they can grow. That's all. Now, when we talk about respond to changes, what do we mean by respond to changes? Okay, so it can be that any stimulus, like for example, there's a change in temperature. Okay, there's a change in the amount of light. There's a change in like sense of touch. Like for example, if you were to try to touch a snail, the snail will curl up, right? And, will just go into its shell. Okay, so that is the sense of touch, like a millipede as well, or even a mimosa plant. When you touch it, it will close. Okay, so that these are actually stimulus that might cause the living thing to respond to changes, right? So that's responding to changes. Now, the last characteristic you want to go through is reproduce. You're going to learn more about reproduction in primary 5, okay, reproduction in humans. But for now, at primary 3 level, I think all you need to know is that living things reproduce, okay? So why is it important for living things to reproduce? You need to remember this phrase. It ensures the continuity of its species. Okay, the reason why people or living things or human beings want to reproduce is because they want to ensure the continuity of their own species. Are we clear? Yeah, okay. So of course, there are many ways for reproduction to take place. It can be like giving birth, it can be by laying eggs, it can be by seeds, or it can be by spores. Okay, and all this we're going to learn even more when it comes to when we go through diversity of animals and all, and different types of plants, flowering versus non-flowering and all. Okay, and fungi and bacteria. Okay, so what we're going to do is we will start with the questions. There will be a rest point at question 10.